Good afternoon, students. Today we see the 12th chapter, domain name system. So in the domain name system, now we say about the domain name system components. So first of all, what is domain name system? So what is domain name system? It maintains all the directory of the domain names. So it helps us to access the websites using these domain names. So it can translate the domain name into IP address. For that purpose, we are using this domain name system. So there are three components in domain name system. They are namespace, name server, zone. So what are the three components of domain name system? Namespace, name server, zone. So today we see only the namespace. Okay. So first namespace. What is namespace? So in namespace, the domain names must be very unique and appropriate. So the name should be selected from the namespace. So the namespace can be organized in two ways: flat namespace and hierarchical namespace. So what is flat namespace? In flat namespace, the name is assigned to the IP address. They do not have any specific structure. So the main disadvantage of this flat namespace is they cannot be used in large system. So we have to use only the hierarchical namespace. So what is hierarchical? It is a tree-like structure. Have you all know about the hierarchical? It is a tree-like structure. So in hierarchical namespace, the name is made up of several parts. The first part is the nature of the organization, and the second part is name of the organization, and the third part is department of the organization, and so on. So likewise, that part will be several parts. So many parts it will be going on. So what is hierarchical? It is like a tree-like structure, and the name is made up of several parts. And to achieve this namespace, the domain namespace was designed. So to achieve this hierarchical namespace, we have to design the domain namespace. So now let us see what is domain namespace. See the picture. So this is the domain namespace. So here this picture represents the domain namespace where the root element is present at the topmost level, that is level 0. And then the root element always represents the null string. There is no string is there. Okay, the root element always be null string, that is empty string. So the next level to the root element is called node, the second one. So the second one, .in and .org, that is the second level. So first level is 0, level 0, that is empty string, and the second level to the root element is called as node, that is children of the root element. That is called node, the children of the root element. So each node in the tree has a label and a domain name. So here what is a label? Here label is in. In is a label and .in is a domain name. You understand this? So in, that is India, that is a label, and .in is a domain name. So each node in the tree has a label and a domain name. So first of all we see the definition. Afterwards again we have to see this diagram. Okay. So what is domain namespace? The domain namespace was designed to achieve the hierarchical namespace. Here the names are represented as a tree-like structure with the root element on the top. The tree can have a maximum of 128 levels from level 0 to level 127. Okay, so the root element always represents the null string. So the next level to the root element is node, that is children of the root element. So each node in the tree has a label and a domain name. So now let us see again this picture. So what is the first one? This picture represents the domain namespace where the root element is present at the topmost level, that is level 0. and the root element always represents the null string. The next level to the root element is node, that is children of the root element. So each node in the tree has a label and a domain name. Here in this node, in dot in level 1 having no, in the level 1 in is called as label, and in dot is called as domain name. Okay, and then each node, similarly for org, that is also level 1, that org is a label and .org is a domain name. Similarly in level 2 also, .gov, here gov is a label and mil is a label and .gov is a domain name. Okay, and then next we see about what is label and what is domain name. So see this picture. So we already seen, first see the definition, afterwards we see the picture. First we see the definition. So what is label? Label is a string. String means any characters. Okay, string which can have maximum of 63 characters. It is a label is a string which can have maximum of 63 characters. And in other words, the labels are the names given to domains. In other words, labels are the names given to domains. So here domain is a subtree. Domain is a subtree in domain namespace tree structure. So the domain can be further divided into subdomains. Okay, so the domain can be subdivided into again domain subdomains. So in the above diagram, see the diagram. So in the above diagram, we have to clearly explain the domain name and label. Here how we have to read this domain name which is obtained. So if the domain name is here, we want to read the labels from bottom to top. Okay, bottom to top, separating each label by dot. So first of all, it is level 0, that is root, and then level 1 in, and then level 3 gov, and in level 4 tn. So what we are this domain name we want to obtain by reading the labels from bottom to top. So .tn, .gov, .in. So from bottom to top you have to read the labels by separating each label by dot. So this is label. And the next we see about the domain name. So what is the domain name? Domain name is a sequence of labels that are separated by dot. Okay, so what is a domain name? Sequence of labels that are separated by dot. So it is always read from lower level to higher level. That is from the leaf node to root node. Leaf node to root node. So the root node always represent null string. So all the domain name ending with dot. So all the domain name will ending with dot. Okay. So the next, what is a domain name? It is a sequence of labels that are separated by dot. It is always read from lower level to higher level. That is from the leaf node to root node. So the root node always represent null string. So all the domain name ending with dot. So what are the rules of domain names? Okay, the first we see the rules of domain names. So what are the rules? First one, the domain name can consist of only alphabets A to Z in small letters, lowercase only, and the digits 0 through 9. And then hyphens are allowed, but hyphens cannot be used as a first character of the domain name. And the third point is spaces are not allowed. Third point, spaces are not allowed. And fourth point, special symbols, that is exclamatory, dollar, and symbol, hyphen, and so on, as symbol. These are not permitted. And the fifth point is domain names can have minimum length of 2 and maximum length of 63 characters. So the entire name must be at most 253 characters long. And the sixth point is domain names are not case sensitive. Are not case sensitive means it may be upper or lower or mixing of both the cases. So the next we see about generic top level domain names. What are the generic top level domain names? The top level domain is the last part of the domain name. The last part of the domain name is called a top level domains. That is in the second level after the root. Okay, so the first one is top level is root level, and the next one is top level, and the next one is second level, and then remaining and all called as subdomains. So the top level domain is the last part of the domain name. So generic top level domains are used for generic purpose, and then it is maintained by a IANA. Okay, so the domain name COM is commercial organization, and EDU educational institution, GOV government, MIL military groups, ORG non-profit organization, NET networking organization, info information service providers. So these are the generic top level domain names. So what is top level domain? It is the last part of the domain name. For example, if you are written, see this is the, in this picture here .in is the generic top level domain names. So GOV, here GOV we are used. Okay, so next one we are seeing country top level domains. IN is the country top level domain names, and then GOV is the generic top level domain names. So now see country top level domain names. So what is country top level domain names? Country domain name always it uses 2 characters, that is country abbreviation according to that country. Okay, for example, google.in. So it is for India. Suppose if you are typing google.us for US. Okay, so here some country domain names are there. IN for India, US United States, F for France, UK United Kingdom, CA Canada, AU Australia, LK Sri Lanka, BD Bangladesh, CN China, PK Pakistan, JP Japan, SG Singapore. Have you all understand this namespace? So the namespace is over in the domain name system components. First we have to study about the namespace alone. So up to this namespace over. In the next class we have to see we see the name server and zone and how the DNS works. Okay, thank you students.